Good afternoon, First Presbyterian Church family. I hope this finds you well on Wednesday, January 13th. Despite what is going on in our larger world, I hope personally you've had some fun, some pleasure in these first few days of the new year. January comes from Janus, the god of the new year, and a god whose face looked two ways, backwards and forwards. Very appropriate. And I've shared this probably in other settings, but for me, Thanksgiving is a time to look back. And I even make a list of blessings from the previous Thanksgiving up until the November of that year. So back in this early November, I began to make list of blessings, looking at the dates after Thanksgiving 2019 up until this year. December, the Christmas season, Advent, all of that to me is very much a festival of the present. There are events to mark, celebrations, songs, TV shows, landmarks to visit, light shows to see, presents to buy if you've not done it already. And that's great. Very much be in the present. New Year's Eve and New Year's Day is a time to looking forward, but often we're very tired. And we only look forward in a general way. I see January as a time to really do some reflecting and looking forward. I know of somebody who had a landmark birthday, and this person let that year be a year of major reflection. This person, I won't give the age, but several things had happened in the previous several years, and this person said, okay, this is going to be a year to reflect. What do I want to change? What do I want to write my next chapter? And so Landmark Plus One birthday was like the launch of changes. And again, for all positive changes that this person made, but spending some time reflecting on it. And there have been years when I've actually used January as my resolution month. And so I did, February 1st to January 31st. And that way kind of, in a way, functions as a year. And in fact, there's a connection with that with Groundhog's Day. Now, I am going to spend the month of January looking at different festivals that mark renewal and going forward with some reflections and thoughts. It's going to conclude on Groundhog Day. And if you want to see what does Groundhog Day have to do with New Year's, you got to wait and you got to watch and listen. This is the time to reflect. And then one person shared of a kind of a ritual that she had for January. That once all the Christmas things were put away and all the New Year's celebration things were put away, that she would spend a couple of quiet hours and make a list of the negatives of the past year, whatever they may be. It might have been some bad conversations, some broken relationships, some strained relationships, some things, unexpected expenses that had come along that they had to endure. But all the negatives she would list. And then would set the piece of paper on fire. Peace be gone. In a sense, just saying goodbye to all that was negative and looking forward to the new year, cleaning the slate. That's how I'm going to approach in our chats the January sessions. What are ways of cleaning the slate, looking forward, and what does that involve? Looking and thinking about that, some scriptures come to mind. I think of Ecclesiastes 3, very famous, well-known chapter. To everything there is a time, a season, a purpose under heaven. And so there's some purposes that have lived a good life, and it's time to end, or need to be put on sabbatical for a while. So what needs to be brought out as well? It's not just the negative, or it's not taken away, but what needs to be added. I think of the book of Esther. I think of Esther when she was given that challenge. You may know the story, brief summary. She is orphaned. She has a cousin, uncle, kind of, I think it's more of a cousin, but uncle figure, who is her guardian. And there is the beauty contest, essentially, to find a new queen or chief girlfriend for the king, and she wins. She initially hides her identity as being Jewish. she's just another pretty face. And there's somebody plotting against the Jews. That's Haman. And at this time, her guardian says, "Well, you need to appeal to the king on behalf of your people." And there's some discussion: is this the right time? I've not been called in a while. You don't go into his presence without permission unless he extends the golden scepter of forgiveness. This is risky. And he said, and this is Esther 4:14. Perhaps you've attained royalty for such a time as this. For such a time as this, you are in this place. So that's the kind of perspective question. And finally, I think of Jeremiah 29:11, when he said, I know the plans that I have for you, plans for your welfare. In this case, this was a letter or an encouragement sent to Jewish people who had been sent to exile in Jerusalem, from the area to Babylon, and saying that that's where you're going to be. It's basically going to be your grandchildren will have the opportunity to come back, or even great-grandchildren will be the ones that at least have the opportunity to come back. That's where you're going to be. Seek the Lord. Seek the welfare of the city where God has placed you. Seek to build a life. God is using this to discipline you. Make something of it. So when I know the plans that I have for you, for this season, and this will be your life, but for the season of my people, it means for them to be in exile in Babylon. And so, seeking the welfare of where we are and making the most of our situation, and again, reflecting on the past year and even the past couple of weeks, that really is going to be our charge for us, how we do that going ahead. Those are the kind of three guiding scriptures that I have. I want to share the words of a couple of hymns. This is in 686. We have sung this one before. It's in our hymnal. Glory to God, our hymnal here. God of our life is the title. Is God of our life, through all the circling years we trust in Thee. In all the past, through all our hopes and fears, Thy hand we see. With each new day, when morning lifts the veil, we own Thy mercies, Lord, which never fail. God of the past, our times are in Thy hand, with us abide. Lead us by faith to hope's true promised land. Be Thou our guide, with Thee to bless. The darkness shines as light, and faith's fair vision changes into sight. God of the coming years, through paths unknown we follow Thee. When we are strong, Lord, leave us not alone. Our refuge be. Be Thou for us in life our daily bread, and our heart's true home when all our years have sped. The hymn that follows, 687, is Our God, Our Help in Ages Past. Very familiar. Our God, our help in ages past, our hope for years to come, our shelter from the stormy blast, and our eternal home. And then its final verse goes, Our God, our help in ages past, our hope for years to come, be Thou our guard while life shall last, and our eternal home. I want to share two last pieces with you. This is from a meme that a friend shared and I have saved. The image is a passing of the year, and it says, The old year is worn and tired, time now to kiss it goodbye. Take with you its wisdom, the authority and the power of all you have learned. Remember the past year with love, but let go of its despair. Live the year that lies ahead with fresh energy and hope. Be strong, have courage. It is time for something new. A good way to review in this month of January. And let me conclude with these words that I share pretty much for years now, over a decade I've shared on New Year's Day. These words were read by King George VI on Christmas Day of 1939. At that point, they were at war. Poland had fallen, and nothing was going on at this point. It was moving into winter. But it was still a very uncertain time. And I said to the man who stood at the gate of the year, Give me a light that I may tread safely into the unknown. And he replied, Go out into the darkness and put your hand into the hand of God. That shall be to you better than light and safer than a known way. So as we look at this month, a bit of looking back, definitely looking forward, let us put our hand into the hand of God. That shall be for us better than light and safer than a known way. Good day.